Hello friends, today we discuss about dispersion by prism. Friends, we already know that when a narrow beam of sunlight, which we can see a white light, when we incident this light on a glass prism, then we know that the emergent light is seen to be consisting these several colors, right? Because of the dispersion, right? So you already studied this topic in your standard 10, so just we recall it, right? So we know that a narrow beam of light, usually called the white light, is incident on a glass prism. The emergent ray seen to be consisting the several colors, and we know the sequence Vibgyor. The sequence is violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange and red, right? And we also know that the red light bends least and the violet light bends the most, right? So you have to remember, violet light bends most and the red light bends least. Now this phenomena of splitting the light into the component of color is known as dispersion, and this pattern of color is known as spectrum of light, right? We already know that, right? This is a prism, right? When we incident a light of sun, or we can say a white light on a prism, then this light can be split into the several colors, right? Like this. The seven colors are Vibgyor. We know the sequence violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange and red. So here we write this. We know that when a narrow beam of light, usually called white light, is incident on a glass prism, the emergent light is seen to be consisting several colors. The sequence of colors are violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange and red. The short form is Vibgyor, Vibgyor. You have to remember, the red light bends the least and the violet light bends the most. This phenomena of splitting of light into its component color is known as dispersion, and the pattern of color component of light is called spectrum of light. So this is known as the spectrum of light, right? You have to remember this. Each color associated with the wavelength of light. Very important sentence which will be asked in MCQs. Each color associated with the wavelength of light. In the visible spectrum, red light is at long wavelength. So red light having a long wavelength, you have to remember the value of wavelength of red light is 700 nanometer, and the violet light having a short wavelength having wavelength of 400 nanometer. We already know 1 nanometer is equals to 10 raised to minus 9 meter, right? So once again I repeat, in the visible spectrum, red light has a long wavelength at end of 700 nanometer, and the violet light has a short wavelength having wavelength end at 400 nanometer. This dispersion takes place due to the refractive index of medium for different wavelength of color different, right? So this dispersion is due to the refractive index of a medium for the different wavelength, right? We already discussed about values of wavelength, right? Red and violet, red having a long and violet have a short wavelength. For example, the bending of the red component of white light is least while it's most for violet. We already discussed that violet more bends and the red least, right? And the red light travels faster than violet light in the glass prism. You have to remember this. The red light travels faster than the violet light in a glass prism, right? So we write some sentence like this. In the visible spectrum of red light is at long wavelength and at 700 nanometer, while the violet light is at short wavelength having end at 400 nanometer. This dispersion takes place due to the refractive index of a medium for different wavelength of color. For example, we already know the bending of red component is least and violet most. And you have to remember the red light travels faster than the violet light in the glass prism, right? You have to remember this. Now, there are two types of medium, dispersive and non-dispersive medium. Here, if we consider a vacuum or air, you can say vacuum or air. So, vacuum or air is a non-dispersive medium in which all colors travel with the same speed. So, there are two types of medium, dispersive and non-dispersive. If the medium in which all colors travel with the same speed, then it is known as non-dispersive medium. So we can say that non-dispersive medium in which all colors travel with the same speed. Non-dispersive medium is a medium of vacuum or we can say air. And in dispersive medium, vice versa, right? So we can say glass is a dispersive medium, right? So once again I repeat, there are two types of medium, dispersive and non-dispersive. If the speed of lights of different color is same, then the medium is non-dispersive. So vacuum or air is non-dispersive medium in which all colors travel with the same speed, and the speed is different in prism. So we can say a glass prism or we can say a glass is a dispersive medium. So we can write something here. The variation of refractive index with wavelength may be more pronounced in the same media than other. In vacuum, the speed of light is independent of wavelength, doesn't depend on the wavelength. So you have to remember, in vacuum, speed of light is independent of the wavelength. So we can say if the speed of light is independent from the wavelength, then we can say that vacuum or air is a non-dispersive medium in which all colors travel with the same speed. On the other hand, glass is a dispersive medium. And the various natural things like the blue color of sky, white clouds, red view at sunrise and sunset, we can say the sun is red at the time of sunrise and sunset, rainbow, and the brilliant colors of some shells and whale wings of the birds are just a few natural wonders which is due to the sunlight, right? And this occurs due to the dispersion, right? So we can say that this is due to the dispersion and the process of scattering, right? Now we discuss about this scattering and dispersion, various effects, right? So first of all we discuss about the rainbow. Friends, you already see the rainbow, right? So a rainbow is an example of the dispersion of sunlight by the water drops in the atmosphere, right? We can say that the rainbow is occurs due to the water drops in the atmosphere, right? So this is due to the combined effect of dispersion, refraction and the reflection, right? You have to remember the rainbow is due to the effect of dispersion, refraction and the reflection of sunlight, right, by the water drops. So friends, you already see the rainbow, right? And it occurs due to the water drops in the atmosphere, and this rainbow is due to the dispersion, reflection and refraction. Now the question is, at what time we can see a rainbow? So the condition for observing a rainbow are that sun should be shining in the one part of the sky, we can say western, while it is raining in the opposite part of the sky, say eastern. So in this condition an observer sees the rainbow. So observer sees the rainbow, the condition is that the sun should be shining in one part of the sky and on the opposite side there will be a raining. In this condition rainbow occurs. Or we can say an observer can therefore see a rainbow only when his back towards the sun, right? So we can write these things. It is an example of the dispersion of sunlight by a water drops in atmosphere, right? We can say that rainbow is occurs due to the dispersion of the sunlight by the water drops in the atmosphere. This is due to the combined effect of dispersion, refraction and reflection by sunlight, right, by the spherical water droplets in the rain. The condition for observing a rainbow are that the sun should be shining in one part of the sky near western, while it is raining on the opposite part of the sky, say eastern. So an observer can therefore see a rainbow only when his back is towards the sun, right? So now we discuss how rainbow is formed. So our next topic is formation of rainbow, right? Okay. Now the sunlight is first refracted as it enters into the raindrop, right? We already discussed that the rainbow is occurs due to the spherical water droplets and with the help of sunlight. So the sunlight first enter into the raindrops. So here in outer side our first medium is air, right? And in water droplets the medium is water. right? So our ray of sunlight goes rarer medium to denser medium. So first of all, refraction takes place, right? So we can say that sunlight is first refracted as it enters a raindrop, which cause the different wavelength of the white light to separate. And we know that this separation is known as the dispersion, right? And 7 colors are formed. We know the colors Vibgyor, right? And we already know that longer wavelength bands least red, right? We already discussed that red color have longer wavelength, and the shorter wavelength bands most, say violet, right? So first, the process of formation of rainbow is first of all the sunlight enters into the raindrop, then refraction takes place, and after that dispersion occurs. So white light separate in several colors. We know 7 colors are there, Vibgyor. We also know that longer wavelength bands the least, say red, and the shorter wavelength bands most, say violet. Now this component of rays strikes the inner surface of the water droplet and get reflected as the angle between the refracted ray and normal is greater than the critical angle 48, right? So here see this figure. First of all, sunlight enters into the water drop. So first of all, this white light separate in the 7 colors. Refraction takes place, right? After refraction, this refracted ray incident at the inner surface of the water drop. Now we already know that you have to remember, if the angle of incidence is greater than the critical angle, then total internal reflection occurs, right? So here the refracted ray and the normal to the drop surface, the angle between this is greater than the critical angle. The value of critical angle is 48 degree. So these colors of the ray reflected in the same medium, you can see in this figure, reflected in the same mediums, and after that it comes out of the drop as shown in this figure, right? So the process of formation of rainbow is first of all sunlight enters into the raindrop, so refraction takes place. After that this sunlight separate into the several colors. After that we know the longer wavelength bands the least, say red, and the shorter wavelength bands most, say violet. Now this component of ray strikes at the other end of the water drop surface, right, and get internally reflected. If the angle between the refracted ray and the normal to the drop surface is greater than the critical angle 48 degree, and after that this reflected light comes out of the drop as shown in this figure. And now you have to remember this sentence. It is found that violet light emerges at the angle of 40 degree. I repeat, violet light emerges at the angle of 40 degree related to the incoming sunlight, and the red light emerges out at 42 degree, right? So you have to remember, the violet emerges out at 40 degree, 40 degree, and red light emerges out at 42 degree, and the other colors angle lie between these two values, 40 degree and 42 degree, right? So you have to remember, violet emerges at 40 degree, so this is violet, and red emerges at 42 degree, so this is red, and other colors are between these two values, 40 degree and 42 degree, right? Okay. Now we discuss about the primary and secondary rainbow. In this case, see this figure, right? Okay. Now we already know that the process of formation of rainbow, like this, there are 7 colors. Yes, dispersion takes place. After that, total internal reflection occurs, and after that, refraction occurs, right? And we know the value of angles. Violet emerges at 40 degree and red emerges at 42 degree, right? So this process is same. Violet occurs as 40 degree, red occurs at 42 degree, right? So red light from drop 1 and violet from drop 2 reach the observer's eye. You can see in this figure, red from drop 1 and violet from drop 2 reach at the observer's eye. This violet drop 1 and red light from drop 2 are directed at a level above and below the observer. We can say that in drop 1 violet and in drop 2 red is at above and below from the observer, right? So the observer sees a rainbow with the red color on top and the violet at the bottom, right? So thus the primary rainbow is a result of 3 processes: refraction, reflection and the dispersion. And here the process is, first refraction occurs, then reflection occurs, and again refraction occurs, right? Now we discussed about the secondary rainbow, and you have to remember, when light rays undergoes 2 internal reflections inside a raindrop instead of 1 secondary rainbow is shown in figure. So when 2 internal reflection occurs, you can see 2 internal reflection occurs, then it is found that the intensity of light reduced at the secondary rainbow, right? And hence the intensity of the second rainbow is less than the primary rainbow, right? So you have to remember the intensity of the secondary rainbow is less than the primary rainbow. So we can say that the intensity of light reduced at the secondary reflection, and hence the secondary rainbow fainter than the primary rainbow, and further the order of color is reversed in it, right? Because in this case 2 internal reflection occurs, right? Okay, now we discuss about the scattering of light. Now scattering of light. Now what is scatter? So we can say, when a sunlight travels through the Earth's atmosphere, it changes the direction by the atmospheric particles. This is known as the scattering, right? So scattering is that the change in direction of the sunlight, right? So we can write this as sunlight travels through the Earth's atmosphere, it gets scattered or change its direction by the atmospheric particles. This light of shorter wavelength, we already discussed that the light of shorter wavelength is scattered much more than the light of longer wavelength, right? So we can say that as the wavelength is shorter, then scattering is more, and if the wavelength is longer, then scattering is less, right? So we can write that as the sunlight travels through the Earth's atmosphere, it gets scattered, change its direction by the atmospheric particles. Light of shorter wavelength is scattered much more than the light of the longer wavelength. The amount of scattering is inversely proportional to the fourth power of the wavelength. You have to remember this sentence, right? This sentence is very useful, right? The amount of scattering is inversely proportional to the fourth power of the wavelength, and this is known as the Rayleigh scattering. The relevant quantity here is the relative size of the wavelength lambda, right, and the scatter. We can say the size is E, right? So you have to remember the amount of scattering inversely proportional to the fourth power of the wavelength. This is known as the Rayleigh scattering, and here we denoted the quantity, here relative size denoted by E, and you have to remember these three sentences here. For A double less than lambda, then it is called Rayleigh scattering, which is proportional to 1 upon lambda raised to 4. If A double greater than lambda, then it is called geometric scattering, and if A double A is equals to lambda, then it is called Mie scattering. I repeat, for A double less than lambda, then it's known as Rayleigh scattering. If A double greater than lambda, then it is known as geometric scattering, and if A is equals to lambda, then it is known as Mie scattering. Okay. Now the question is, we can see the sky is blue. We can see a reddish look of sun at the time of sunrise and sunset. We also see the color of cloud is white. So what's the reason behind this? So today we will discuss about this question, right? So our first question is, why the sky is blue? So the amount of scattering is inversely proportional to the fourth power of wavelength. We already know, and this is known as the Rayleigh scattering. Now we know that the blue color has a shorter wavelength as compared to the red, right? And we know that if the shorter wavelength, then the scattering is more. So the blue color is scattered more. So the question is, the wavelength of violet color is less than blue, so violet color will be scattered more than the blue, but our eye is more sensitive to blue color as compared to violet, so we can see the sky is blue, right? So why the sky is blue? So the answer is, we know the amount of scattering is inversely proportional to 1 upon lambda 4, right? And we can say that we know the amount of scattering is, we don't write inversely, only is proportional to 1 upon lambda raised to 4. This is known as the Rayleigh scattering. Now the bluish color predominates in clear sky, since the blue has the shorter wavelength than red. So the blue color scatter much more than as compared to red, right? But in fact the violet get scatter more than the blue, having the shorter wavelength, but our eye is more sensitive to blue color, right? So we see the sky is blue, right? Now our second question is, why the sun look reddish at the time of sunrise and sunset? So at the time of sunrise and sunset, sunrays have to travel a large distance in the atmosphere. So most of other like blue and the other color having a shorter wavelength are removed by the scattering, right? So only red color is able to reach at our eye, so we can see a reddish look of sun at the time of sunrise and sunset, right? I repeat, at the time of sunrise and sunset the sun rays have to travel a large distance in atmosphere, so most of colors having shorter wavelength are removed by the scattering, so only red color is able to reaching at our eyes, so we can see a reddish look of sun at the time of sunrise and sunset. And our last question is, why the clouds are seen to be of white color? So the answer is, once again we know the scattering is proportional to 1 upon lambda raised to 4, and we already know for a double greater than lambda, large scattering objects, right, the all wavelength are scattered equally, right? I repeat, we know the scattering is proportional to 1 upon lambda raised to 4, but for a double greater than lambda, large scattering object like raindrops, large dust or ice particles, this is not true, right? So in this case all wavelengths are scattered near equally, so due to the all wavelengths are scattered equally, due to this the clouds which have droplets of water with a double greater than lambda are generally white. So the clouds are seen to be white due to the all wavelengths are scattered nearly equally, right? So this is for today's session, right? Thank you.